What up everyone, it's your boy Xmanny87 here, bringing you another top 10 video, and what I have for you today is my top 10 action figure shit list of 2020. Before I get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Just a friendly reminder that if one of the figures you like ends up on my list, or you don't like what I have to say, I ask that you please do not take it personal. It's only my opinion and based on my experience. My list is based off multiple factors, not just how terrible the figures are, but others such as the price point, how it was offered, how much I just didn't like it, etc, etc. My list is my list, your list is your list, so let's keep it civil in the comments. Many of you have been requesting I do a top worst video and give my brutal honesty, so here it is, no holding back. Now with that said, y'all ready for me to shit on some figures? Alright, let's shit on them. Here are the 5 that almost made my shit list, but I will not let them escape so easily as I have a few things to shit on them about. We have the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Arkham Asylum Batman. I never set my expectations high for McFarlane Toys when it comes to articulation, as this guy is a brick. Just a straight up wall of shit. High expectations for sculpt, yes, but the sculpt let me down. McFarlane Toys continues to have the worst ball joints on wrists and ankles that look absolutely atrocious, and this is one of the many that suffer from it. I think I was too generous in my review with this one. This definitely gets a lower score than what I gave it. As one of my all-time favorite video game franchises, I'm still waiting for that definitive Batman Arkham figure that has everything. Next, we have the Power Rangers Lightning Collection White Dino Ranger. Something that has agitated me about this line is how they are intentionally cutting main features over corners. They did it again with King Sphinx and Pumpkin Rapper, who are deluxe pricing, for example. The black not being painted around the red visor is absolutely stupid and careless. I know Hasbro was sending out replacements, but this should have never happened. I never got mine after multiple emails sent. No response. I'm not a professional painter, but it seems like I'll have to do it myself, which I shouldn't have to do. Unacceptable. Then we have the Marvel Selects Spider-Man PS4 Advanced Suit. You guys know how much I hate most Marvel Selects figures. I gave another chance for this Spider-Man as it's my favorite game ever, and yup, felt like we got another action figure Spidey from them. Selects is not built to make a great Spider-Man. It's just not made for him. All their Spider-Man figures are straight caca with the articulation that doesn't complement the character at all. No butterfly joints, and the torso is a brick. Yeah, I know you can mod it. I've seen Parallel Universe modding of it, but don't let that elude you on how bad it is. I judge the figures as how they come originally and not after any modding, because we shouldn't have to do that. Accessories is what really saved this figure from being on the shit list. Anyways, Marvel Select sucks and no one will ever change my mind on that. Next, we got the Marvel Legends Phantom X. While better than its last figure, it's not much improvement. It is still a brick for an agile character. Would have been better off on the same body as Moon Knight rather than Bucky Cap. Paying $80 for the set just to get Nimrod, you end up getting this stiff jacket, falling bootstraps, highly hindered figure, and the X-Force Psylocke costume no one wanted doesn't justify the price. I'll just call this guy Phantom Excrement. Then lastly, we have the SH Figure Art Spider-Man PS4 Anti-Ox Suit. Surprised to see 2 Spider-Man figures here? Don't be. I'm very hard on Spider-Man figures, more so than any other because I always set the highest expectations for it. Is it me, or has SH Figure Arts fallen from its heyday back a few years ago? Some of the design choices here just baffle me. While mostly a good sculpt and paint, the shoulders lack so much range and zero bicep swivel. All I gotta say is articulated butt cheeks should never be a thing. This feels so damn wrong. I never want to feel like I'm violating a figure. Heel to the butt is one thing. Heel to the articulated butt is another level and a first for me. Never in my life did I ever think I'd see a Spider-Man action figure that can spread his ass cheeks. Without further ado, here is my top 10 shit list of 2020. Coming in at number 10, we have the Marvel Legends Shikla. Most of you won't care for this, but this one hurts me because I really like the character in the comics. I thought she brought out a funnier side to Deadpool, and the two had such a great chemistry. I loved covering her story time, so check out my review if you haven't, or if you did and want to revisit it. I always wanted a figure of her, and I got Shitla instead of Shikla. They picked the worst female Legends mold for her. She's so scrawny, she's not even close to her physique in the comics. The Hellcat or even Moonstone body mold would have matched the sickness for the thickness. She can't stand, so that makes it worse. She didn't come with her pet bug either. She came with Jeff the baby Landshark puppy, which I love by the way, and made me happier with the purchase, but Jeff would have been better off being included with the Pirate Deadpool in the wave, just so Shikla can have her pet bug. The worst part for me was how beautiful the printing pattern is on this figure. Not only was it painted, but texturized as well, and then Hasbro completely half-assed it with nothing on the back. They've done this many times before where they skip the paint on the back. They had something special going on with this pattern, and it just sucks that they didn't follow through to complete the figure. Beautiful head sculpt. I was really impressed with it, but at least I had fun photographing her, as that's the one thing I get joy out of. But yeah, this is one figure I wish they executed right, because I don't think we'll ever get an opportunity for a Shikla figure again. I feel like this is a one and done, and I'm just stuck with the Shikla. Coming in at number 9, we have the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Devastator. One of the worst things about McFarlane Toys is their scaling. Not against other lines, that's not an issue for me at all. It's amongst each other within the line. While this figure is big and massive, it is way off its comic accurate height. He's supposed to be 8'10". Yet when you put someone like Red Hood next to him, suddenly Red Hood and those his same size are now 8 feet tall. Toddy Mac always leaves me scratching and shaking my head. Then the figure has unpainted areas on the forearms, lower legs, and the entire back. Like with Shikla, he pulled off a Hasbro here. I've seen this dude talk shit about Hasbro's paint before. Come on, bruh. Don't do the exact same shit that you are talking shit about. Now, I like the dude. I really do, and I enjoy talking to him at New York Toy Fair, and he's such an amazing person, but when you pull off something like that, it's not a good look. Surprisingly, this doesn't have those horrible wrist and ankle ball joints like most of his figures do. This looks more flushed out, and I appreciate that. Several of the spikes on mine came so warped. Freaking caca, bro. Unfortunately, I needed him to complete my Dark Knight's Metal Squad. Coming in at number 8, we have the NECA Toys TMNT Slash. Ah, NECA, the king of QC issues. No surprise here. This Slash was plagued with QCs from the second I unboxed him. The legs are stuck together. If I move one up or down, the other moves along with it. The backpack is the worst material made. It's like they pride themselves in making fragile shit that breaks. The strap is breaking off and doesn't stay in place. Poorly articulated as all the joints are frozen stiff. Can't move them like the turtles. Another thing, don't tell me to heat it up with a hairdryer or heat it in water, because I know that and I do that. Again, I can't stress it enough. I shouldn't have to do that. I had their reps tell me the same thing at New York Comic Con. I know their quality is shit when even their own reps admit it. I gave up on them, as majority of figures I get from them always break, and now I only do the TMNT because I love the 80s TMNT cartoon, so I'm writing it out until the line ends. Look, with sculpts, NECA can do no wrong, but that art means nothing when their shit breaks all the time. Any form of beautiful art that has a severe problem for that matter. That's like getting a Mona Lisa painting each time and receiving it ripped in half. There's nothing left to it, just tears a hole in the soul. Also, no alternate hands where everyone else in the line has. Man, get this shit out of here, I'm done. Slash is trash. Coming in at number 7, we have the Jazzware Toys Halo Infinite Series Master Chief. This figure gave me a headache. I ran through 4 of these figures to finally get one that didn't have a QC issue. The first one had a backward shoulder joint, the second one had 2 right thighs, the bicep snapped on the third one, and finally the fourth was the charm. Such a hassle going back and forth to Target stores for exchanges, letting them know about the defects. Another thing, when comparing the 6-inch figure to the 3 3/4, why does the 3 3/4 figure have better paint and wash than this 6-inch that's supposed to be their premier line for the Halo series? That brings more frustration on what should have been featured for this $20 price tag. Anyways, with all the issues on this one figure, it easily made me decide to not pursue the rest of this line. Coming in at number 6, we have the Marvel Legends MCU Red Guardian. Hasbro took 5 steps forward when they first introduced their face print tech to the Legends line, but then went 10 steps back on this guy. Looks nothing like David Harbour in my opinion, and the worst MCU head sculpt since the face print tech started. This face needed to be covered up with a mask for sure. The shield has that stupid flip the clip system that I hate so much and was only intended to fit the Bucky cap wrist. It ended up breaking easily when clipping it onto this figure. They should just stick with the strap system like the MCU cap shields. The dad bod Guardian sculpt came out pretty good, I think, but needed a dirty wash. It looked dirty from the trailer. Anyways, I can't get over how garbage this face is. Coming in at number 5, we have the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian Loyalist. This one is straight up false advertisement. This is not a Loyalist, it is a Death Watch Mandalorian, and if you see my Clone Wars Wave review, I broke down the differences. I was really unhappy with this figure for reusing the Jango Fett mold. So now you have a bunch of chubby Mandalorians as an army flying around in your display. They did the same thing for the Super Commando Mandalorian. Would have been great to have an all new body mold for these. Even worse, they made this a Walmart exclusive. Army builders should never be exclusives. Another thing I can't stress enough. Coming in at number 4, we have the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Netflix Ultra Magnus. This was one of the worst purchases ever made. I don't even own it anymore as I gave it away, which is why you're not seeing it on my rotating base. Just going off these images here, and I only kept the Energon cubes along with the Weapon Masters. This was just a redeco of the Siege mainline to match the animated colors. That original Siege figure is a great figure as I own it, but my beef is how this package was advertised. Nothing was a spoiler about this spoiler box. Ultra Magnus was already in the Siege trailer prior to this reveal. The show ruined his character by making him surrender to the Decepticons. I called BS on that as Ultra Magnus surrenders to no one. This falls under another false advertisement category. What a waste of $50 or $60. Not a spoiler package, a shit package. Coming in at number 3, we have the Marvel Legends Thunderbird. Every line will have its blunders, it's inevitable, and Blunderbird here falls into that. Do I really need to point out how awful this figure is? I feel bad torturing your eyes seeing this figure in 360 on my rotating base. The body mold was the worst choice for this figure, making that head look oversized, which is also terrible. The tassels make the body look even worse. The paint on mine is terrible and no alt hands whatsoever, just these gripping hands that have nothing to hold. Wish he was on the new Hercules torso along with giving him new legs. I felt like I paid $50 for just the Storm as this figure is non-existent to me. Before this was revealed, I was hoping for a good T-Bird figure, but this is just a teabag of shit. Worst Legends figure of the year. Coming in at number 2, we have the Mezco Toys John Wick. This one really pissed me off. I passed on the Mafex one to get this one as I thought it would be the better of the two when I saw the promo images. Then finally getting it in hand and it was a completely different face. Doesn't look anything like Keanu Reeves. Two terrible head sculpts. Imagine paying $130 for a tin box full of caca. That's exactly how I feel with this. It came with a lot of accessories, which is always good, but Mezco decided to be cheap here and not paint the weapons like they normally do. The best thing included is the dog and the weapons cache to store all the guns. The suit is poorly tailored, making the shoulders look very wonky, and he's on that very limited Joker body. You can't get cool poses out of him like crouching, running, and all the other maneuvers the character pulls on screen. He should have been on the Gomez body, which is fully articulated, but all Mezco seems to only care about is that damn roach, as they give him everything while other figures of beloved characters worldwide get shafted. One of my most anticipated figures of 2020 sadly turned out to be utterly disappointing beyond belief. Trash! Coming in at number 1 is the Marvel Legends Fan Vote 2020 Broken Silk. If you saw my review on this when the figure broke on me, you probably guessed this was going to be my number 1. I had a lot of time to think about this, and the main problem for me is not even the figure itself, but the agenda behind it. You had to vote for 3 of the following figures between Silk, Elektra, and Sif. All repaints. The difference between this vote poll compared to the ones in the past is that you would get the figure in an 8-month span to acquire it within the year instead of waiting the following year or longer. Along with the losers never being made, unlike the losers from the past which saw them released shortly after or rarely even sometimes before. They wanted to rush it, and so it shows, because when you rush, you fuck up, which is exactly what happened here. The figure broke on me. By the way, did I mention that they were all repaints? Yeah, that's the biggest problem here. Hasbro forced us to vote for repaints. Repaints, man. We're talking about repaints. Like you are freaking Hasbro. You specialize in repaints many times throughout the months, year after year. It's automatic. The voting poll should only be used for characters of figures never made before that us fans have long desired for. At least that's what I think it should be. I mean, am I wrong here? I could understand if these were new scopes for characters they made before, but it's not. Perfect example would be Silk in her all webbing suit. That would have been the better choice. But forcing us to vote for repaints just leaves a bad taste in the mouth. They should have just released it without a voting system. I understand many collectors didn't get a chance to get Silk or Sif the first time around. I hope those that missed out were able to get Silk this time. Only difference besides the paint deco is she comes with a webbing effect. Thankfully, Hasbro did send me a replacement and let me keep the broken one after a lot of back and forth. Fortunately, nothing is wrong with the new one, but it took a month and a half to finally get my replacement since she sold out immediately on post. What a headache, and I have to be vocal about this so that Hasbro knows that we never, ever want to see this program to vote for repaints ever again. New characters only. Mic drop. Alright, so that was my top 10 shit list of 2020. I know I'm pretty late for it as I planned on having it up earlier, but I was sick all week. I definitely wanted to have this up before January ends. Glad I did, since this will be my last top 10 video. Time to move on to other things that I want to cover and do in my life. Maybe 2 or 3 more reviews, and then I'm going to take a long, much needed extensive break. Now I kick it back to you all. What is your shit list of 2020? As always, comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, link is in the description below. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next video. Peace, peace.